Hey everybody, Dr. Thea here, and tonight we're going to be talking about 5 tips to a better brain. Let's get our mojo back. I'm going to get set up here on Instagram Live real quick. Let's see if I can get it. I'm going to go live. Okay. Here we go. Looks like we are live on everything here. See if I can figure this out a little bit. Okay, welcome to my monthly webinar, Facebook webinar. That's a little bit of an extended live. And so like I said, what we'll be talking about tonight is 5 tips to a better brain. We're going to see about getting our mojo back. It's January 2019, and you know, we're all working on our New Year's resolutions or how we want to make a better life for ourselves, whether that's fiscally, spiritually, health-wise, with our families and our spouses, our kids. But a lot of us fall into the trap of getting bogged down in our brains, right? We're foggy, we have brain fatigue, we have trouble making decisions. You know, maybe we're not sleeping well. We've got all these different things that are affecting our brain. And so I wanted to jump on tonight and go over some ideas that we have to help us have a better brain, and just help us live better. You know, the healthier we are, the better our kids are going to be. And like a lot of you know, my big thing right now is helping as many kids as possible in 2019, right? But to be able to help our kids, we need mom and dad to be healthy. We need the aunties and the uncles to be healthy. We need grandmas and grandmas, friends of the family. We need the whole village to be healthy so we can help the kids, right? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is how we get this thing, our melon, to be a little bit better off. So like I said, build a better brain. This is for kids and adults. So moms, dads, kids can all do these things, right? This is for the whole family, but I want to focus in on some of those moms out there too. So we're going to be taking some of these core ideas and we're going to break off a little bit, and we're going to talk about some other things as well. If you have questions, please throw them in the comments. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram. So please put stuff in the comments. If you want to wave and say hello, that'd be awesome. And we'll go from there. And let's just see where this thing takes us. I'm going to let it run for a little while. Maybe we'll see how long it goes. I don't know. We're going to let the universe decide. Okay? All right. So one of the biggest complaints that I get in the office is that moms and dads, we have this mental fatigue and we have a mental fog, and also just physical fatigue. But a lot of it is this mental fatigue. Can't remember words. You know, forget to pick the kids up at school. No, I'm kidding. But just all these different things where our brains are just really, really tired. A lot of fuzz, right? A lot of fuzzy stuff going on. And our brain is our nervous system, you guys. It's our brain that tells our body what to do. And if this melon isn't working the way we want it to, if it's not ripe, if it's not doing what we want it to, then our body's not going to function well either, right? And that's all about chiropractic. That's what chiropractic is about, is getting the nervous system, the brain and the nervous system to communicate with the body well so we can live our best life. So let's get this thing working better, all right? So if we build a better brain, we're going to build a better nervous system, okay? So the first one, does anybody have any guesses? There's a few people watching. I wonder if anyone has any guesses on what the first one is. So we're going to have 5 tips to a better brain. I don't like having my back to you guys. Sorry about that. Here's a Bob's brain. So look, 5 tips to a better brain, right? And if our brain is working, it can talk to our body the way we want it to, right? So brain and body. We got to make sure they're talking. We got to make sure this thing's thinking clear. Okay? So here's the first one. You guys already know this. It's water. Water. right? I know some of you out there this month are really tracking your water, keeping yourselves on that task, right? 2/3 of the planet Earth are water, right? 2/3 of our body is water. Water, water, water. So we have to make sure that we have it. We have to stay hydrated, right? So we're going to stay hydrated. That was a good guess, Deborah, but it's not exercise. That one's later on the list, so hold on to that. Flow of fluids. If we don't have enough water, if we're not hydrated enough, then our fluids in our body aren't going to move the way we want them to. Our lymph system isn't going to drain properly. Our spinal fluid going from our spine, what our nervous system is bathed in, isn't going to flow well. So we need to make sure that we have enough water in this system, and that the water is going to flush the system out. I have my notes. That's why I keep looking at you guys. I'm trying to put them in a good spot. Ooh, there we go. We have to make sure it flushes out. Our energy will go up. So we want to flush the system, right? This will help increase energy. We just said one of the biggest complaints that we get in our office is physical and mental fatigue, right? So drinking a lot of water will help this, and it's going to help our mood, right? Super important. It's totally going to help our mood. We're going to feel better and so forth, and we're going to have a better mood. So drinking a lot of water is super important, all right? So the number one thing is water. There are some apps out there that will help you. There's a water minder, I think it's called, and you put in how much water you want to drink, and then every so often it rings or beeps or sends you some kind of notification, and then after that you can say, and then you just fill up the glass, like every time it shows a little glass or a little meter or something. I personally don't believe in that kind of stuff. This is for me, because there's so many of them out there. There's an exercise one, there's a food one, there's a water one, there's a this one or that one. Just drink water. Every time you sit down at the table, maybe every time you go to eat a meal, drink a big glass of water first. When you get up in the morning, drink a big glass of water. You can actually add a little salt to it as well. So you can take some sea salt, or I like the pink Himalayan salt because it has a ton of other minerals in it, and just sprinkle a little bit of salt in there. This isn't to make the water salty per se. It's more to just make the water so that it's more absorbable into the cells. Sometimes we can drink a lot of water and it just gets passed right through. So we want to make sure that our cells are absorbing the water. You really want to get crazy, you can do a lemon. That helps flush the system, speed up your metabolism a little bit. You want to get really crazy, you can add the apple cider vinegar to it. Again, just another layer of cleansing in our system, right? Again, especially this time of year. But water is a biggie, so get enough water in your system, okay? All right, here we go. I'm going to erase. I don't have an eraser. Hang on. Because I'm so prepared for all this stuff all the time. Those of you that know me. So I have my fancy eraser here. So water was the first one. Here's the next one. Who knows what the next one is? Does anybody have any ideas? It's not exercise. So we did water. It's not exercise. So I wonder what number 2 could be. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's sleep. Sleep. This is one of the most underrated recovery, feel better, tactical tools that we can use. Most people, in my opinion, are not getting enough sleep, and they're not getting enough quality sleep, right? So sleep, sleep, sleep. A lot of the athletes that we have that come through the office, they're not getting enough sleep. They're not recovering. They're not getting enough sleep in comparison to how much they're exercising or training. We have some shift workers that come in because we have folks that come from the plants that are in the area. So that's a big piece of that. We have to make sure that we're getting enough sleep. We tend to stay up way too late, and we tend to have too much lights on, right? So there's way too many lights on for too long. It's crucial that we take this time to reboot, and the average person needs 7 to 9 hours a night. And most, you know what that is, Deborah, you're just choosing not to sleep. So get your sleep, it's super, super important. 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours, right? This is our reboot, right? This is where a lot of healing happens, right? This is where a lot of learning happens, and where our neural connections in our brain get formed. So if you're, let's say, learning an instrument, and you're practicing at night and you can't hit a G chord, like let's say you're playing guitar and you're learning a G chord and you can't hit that G chord and you're struggling and you're slow, but you're practicing, and then you go to sleep for 8 hours. The next night when you go to practice your guitar again, you're going to hit that G chord. And it's because you don't actually learn the G chord while you're practicing the G chord. Your brain puts those patterns together while you're sleeping. So there's so much stuff that happens when we sleep, and those are the types of things. Same thing if you're studying to take a test, and that could be any of us that are maybe changing careers or taking a test because you're learning a new skill for your job or whatever it is. You can study, but you've got to get the sleep so that your brain, your system, your nervous system can put that information on the proper hooks so that you can retrieve it later. And that's that learning. So much stuff happens here. Learning. There's something that's said in the fitness industry that you're never overtrained, you're actually under-recovered. Never overtrained, you're actually under-recovered. And that comes to the sleep, guys. This. I was talking to a good friend earlier today, and we were talking about scheduling in that white space after you've had a big outlay of energy. And one of the things that we do with that too, after one of those big outlays of energy, whether it's positive energy, you've got so much awesome stuff going on, but maybe you have to be on all the time. One of the big things that we can do for ourselves is make sure we get enough sleep after that so that we can recover. Our brain, our nervous system, our spirit has the opportunity to recover, and we do a lot of that when we're sleeping, okay? I would suggest sleeping in a very dark room, as like pitch black, right? So we want our room, if you guys can see this, we want it to be dark, right? We want it to be cold. We want it to be like a cave, right? People ask me about mattresses all the time. I don't have a specific mattress that I recommend to people. What I tell them is I want you to sleep on as hard a mattress as you can handle, right? As hard a mattress as you can handle. The other thing is you want to start to down-regulate 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. 1 to 2 hours before bed. So what does this mean? This means the TV goes off. The phone gets put aside. Computers, tablets, all this type of stuff, all this gets powered down. The lights in the house even, power them down. If you have dimmers, dim them down, turn them off. Use a lamp instead of overhead lights. Whatever it is, take the house 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, and then you know, regulate. Read a magazine, do some stretching, take a hot bath, read a book. Like a real book, like a one that you open with pages, like read a real book, right? Get off the electronics. The blue light totally screws us up. Has to do with our circadian rhythms, right? That's just how we heal. We're supposed to go to bed with the sun and get up with the sun. That's just how we live. And our body, whether we want to admit it or not, our bodies are still intimately tied to the earth and the rhythms of the earth. And we don't have that. We're very, very disconnected from that. I'm just as guilty. Right? I'm guilty too. I'm not saying that I'm not, but I know that when I'm doing these things, it makes a big deal. So some people even set an alarm at night. I used to have an alarm on my phone for 9 p.m. and that was my shutdown time. So an evening alarm is really helpful. See, I'm giving you guys all my secrets here, okay? I'm just going to lay them all out for you. So an evening alarm, I had it set for 9 p.m. on my phone, and when that alarm went off, that's when I would shut everything down. TV went off, everything went off, and I would read. I would regulate. The lights in the house would go down. I might do some stretching or some yoga, whatever, just whatever I needed to do to get in the proper mindset. The other thing is you want a hard bedtime and a hard wake-up time, right? So maybe you go to bed at 10 and you wake up at 6. Go to bed at 9, wake up at 5. Whatever it is, I don't care. You can go to bed at 11 and wake up at 7. Doesn't matter to me. But having those hard times where you go to bed at the same time and you wake up at the same time, get your body into that cycle, super important. Helps tremendously with getting this quality of sleep. And it doesn't happen overnight. If you're the person that's not sleeping, or you're going to bed way too late, you don't have a routine, it takes a while to get these steps in place. Start slow. Be easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay, right? Just start making the steps, start making the progress in that direction, all right? Okay, what else? I think that's it with the sleep. So the first one was water. Second one is sleep, okay? So now we're going to number 3 with my fancy eraser. All right, does anybody have any idea what number 3 is? You can post it in the comments. If you have any other questions. Nobody? Nobody? Okay. Number 3. Number 3. Nobody yet. Okay, I'm going to tell you, what is movement? So I want you to move. Right? Get moving. Movement is neurological. So here we are. We're going back to the nervous system again. Remember, everything affects the nervous system. You can hit your toe with a hammer, it affects your nervous system. You eat a cheeseburger, it affects your nervous system. You eat kale, it affects your nervous system. If you exercise, it affects your nervous system. If you don't exercise, it affects your nervous system. Everything affects our nervous system. The people we hang out with, the air we breathe. Remember, traumas, toxins, and thoughts. Those are the 3 things, right? Movement is a big piece of this. Move from one couch to the other. Yeah, haha. Let's put the couches like a mile apart. Let's put the couches like a mile apart, and then you can walk back and forth. Gotcha. But movement is huge. What we suggest is 3 to 4 hours a week. Right? That's 1 hour a day, 3 days a week. That's it. 3 days a week for an hour, right? 4 days a week for an hour, right? It could even be, 45 minutes, 7 days a week. I don't know what that math, but about in there somewhere. But that's what I would suggest. Let's see, I got another question. Does it matter how fast you move? That's a great question. So, actually, movement is the deal. If a walk is your thing, like if you're not into the gym, if you're not into, CrossFit or HIIT training, like high intensity interval training, anything like that, that's fine. Go out and go for a walk. But 2 little caveats I would put to that is, 1, you got to get your heart rate up, right? So we want to increase our heart rate. So I would say walk a little faster, right? You can even walk up an incline, whatever. But you want to get air moving and flowing. That's what's going to speed up your metabolism a little bit, is when we start huffing and puffing, right? So we want to increase this. And the other thing that we want to do is we want to do some kind of resistance. Now, you don't, again, have to go to the gym and put a barbell on your back, but maybe doing sit-ups, a plank, air squats, something where we're moving our body weight. You could even, you know, sit down in a chair and stand up, you know, 10 times, 3 times a day, like some kind of squatting type movement. One of the biggest factors of long-term health is muscle mass. So they know through studies that when someone's muscle mass drops dramatically, that's an indicator of low longevity. That's not the right term, but it's a rate of mortality is what it comes out to be. So we need to have muscle mass. The other part of that is the number one reason why people end up in a nursing home or some sort of assisted living, in all honesty, is because they can't get to the bathroom. And it's because they're weak and they can't get off the toilet. Now, we can sit here and giggle and laugh about that, but if you've ever seen anyone that doesn't have the ability to get off the toilet, it's not a nice thing. Like, people get stuck there, and it's because they're not strong. So maintaining some muscle mass and maintaining some strength is going to keep you healthier in the long run, and it's going to lower your rate of mortality. The other thing with that is increasing our heart rate, right? So with this comes your VO2 max, which is just a fancy term for how much air can you move and how fast can you move it. They also know that muscle mass and VO2 max, when they drop, again, is signs for all-cause mortality. So being able to take care of ourselves is super important, and that's where that movement comes in. Now, a lot of us are stuck at a desk or in a car, and that's super detrimental to us just from that being in that spot. And I see that a lot with the moms. The moms that are coming in, they're driving all over the Clear Lake area, Friendswood to the other side of Clear Lake, all the way down to, you know, Dickinson, and then back up north by the Loop or whatever. And what's happening is they're driving all day long and they're not getting anywhere. So it's actually breaking their spirit too. So their spirits gets beat up. They're sitting all the time, so they get deconditioned, right? So this movement thing is a really big piece of the puzzle. And again, movement is neurological, right? So a lot of you know that when we do the specific chiropractic adjustments, we're moving the bones of the spine, and that affects the nervous system. So I want you to think about movement in some ways as a full body adjustment. We have to stimulate that nervous system. We're human animals who are meant to move across the earth. So that's why walking is great. I love a good walk. If you can do, you know, a mile or 2 every day, that's going to be huge. And it really changes your body. You do that on a regular basis from now till the end of 2019, and you're going to see some really nice changes in your body. Like, it's going to make a huge difference. But we may need to just get you moving a little bit faster, and then adding in some really mild resistance training. It doesn't take much at all to maintain that muscle mass. Okay, what else? I think that's it. If anybody else has any other questions, that's a great question. Thanks for asking it. So we've talked about 3 things: water, sleep, and movement. These are all help the brain. Remember, the brain is our nervous system. So anything that stimulates our nervous system is going to stimulate our brain. We just want to do it in a positive way, right? So here's number 4. Number 4 is a little bit different. It's got 2 parts. Okay. Number 4, is keep the crap out. Yep, that's what I said. Keep crap out. So we're going to keep the crap out, right? So there's 2 parts to this. There's we're going to talk about toxins. This is food, right? So we want to keep the toxins out. And one of the ways we do that is food. Remember, this is going to be a couple 2-part thing. So we're keeping the crap out. We're going to get the toxins out. So get no processed foods, right? That's one of the biggest things that we can do for ourselves and keeping our brain healthy is keep the crap out. Because it just, you all know how you felt after Thanksgiving? Remember how you felt after Christmas of all those yucky days of eating crap, right? You're just, ugh. Your mood comes down, your energy comes down, you don't want to do it, you're not motivated, like nothing. A lot of that's the food. You need to buy me an eraser. Yeah, you do need to buy me an eraser because I'm using this fancy one. Look, fancy eraser. Anyways, so yeah, so we got to get the toxins out, right? And the chemicals. Now, it's a two-part thing, right? The chemicals might be in the food. We got to get that out. No sodas, no junk. Read your labels. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it, right? It's kind of common sense. But we want to do that. So I just want to tell, a lot of you have heard me speak about food in the past. I can talk for days about food. You all might not want me to do that. But if anyone wants me to, I can do another talk in a couple weeks, and we can go over some food stuff. But here's the biggie: eat clean, right? Eat whole foods, right? Whole foods, super important. What else? Whole foods, eat clean, eat 3 meals a day. I know there's some people out there that do a lot of intermittent fasting and stuff like that. But yeah, these are just some really good, no sodas, right? No sodas, no added sugar, right? No added sugar. Now, I didn't say don't eat sugar. I said no added sugar. Right? Simple stuff. Yep, one person wants me to do the food talk. Sweet. So no added sugar. If anybody can think of anything else, let me know. We just want to source our food locally as much as possible. Go to your local, thank you, Marla. Go to the farmer's market. Right? Go to the farmer's market. Super important. Eat local. Eat seasonal. Strawberries are not in season all year round. Right? There's a big thing with that. We vote with our dollar. Huge, huge thing there. We vote with our dollar. But eating well, eating smart is going to help our brain fatigue and our brain fog. And you all know what I'm talking about. You all do. I know it's easy to stop somewhere and give, hand your credit card over to the local fast food place and all this kind of stuff. But in the long run, I have to ask myself, is what I'm doing right now going to get me to my goals? Remember, this is January. Most people have already fallen off their goals by now, right? So I know that this stuff is really tough, but I have to get in the habit of asking myself, is what I'm doing right now going to get me to my goal? Right? And if the answer is no, don't do it, or don't do it as often. I'll give you that 80-20 thing, right? I'll give you the 80-20 thing. But yeah, so we want to be really, really careful with that, and we want to maybe even have a accountability group or a community that can help us with some of this stuff. All right. And there's the neuroendocrine stuff. When we eat bad, it affects our nervous system in the sense that it's our nervous system that releases insulin, that regulates blood sugar, our endocrine system, meaning if there's some foods that we eat that are going to give us more of an inflammatory response. So all of that is affecting our nervous system. Interesting, right? Who would have thought it? But that's the deal. Anytime we do anything, it's going to affect our nervous system and it's going to affect our brain. So we want to make sure that we're doing things that are going to positively affect us as often as possible. Okay? All right. So that was part A of get the crap out. Okay? I've got a second part to this. So we're going to go to that. So we're still going to talk about toxins. right? So we're still on toxins, right? But this time I want to talk about, there's added sugar and everything. Yeah, there's high fructose corn syrups and everything. It's just, and soy lectins, stuff like that. It's in everything. Please, please, please read your labels. That's all I can say. Read your labels. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Go to the farmer's market, shake your farmer's hand, pay him with cash, get the banking industry out of it. We vote with our dollar. That's my soapbox on that, but it's super important, in my opinion. Not only do we have toxins in our food, but there's toxic people in our lives. Yeah, I said it. There's toxic people, right? And we got to get them out of there too, because they're energy suckers and they affect our mood, right? You want to be around people that are going to be positive and uplifting, right? People that don't rent space in our heads. Remember? And remember, you guys remember? Some of you have heard me say that the 5 people that we spend the most time with, right? We are the culmination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So think about that, right? If I sit here and think about that, I go, I got a pretty good group of people. I'm doing good with that. I want people that are going to be uplifting. I want people that are going to help me get to my goals. I want people that are going to be supportive of me, but not let me fall back on my own BS, right? They're going to call me on it. They're going to tell me when I'm slacking. You know, they're going to celebrate the wins with me. They're going to cry with the losses, but yet at the same time, we're all going to push each other to the end and to those goals. And it's hard to find those people, right? It's really hard. There's times in our lives where we're going to be, you know, the one helping people come along, right? There'll be those times. And then there's going to be the times where we're the ones being helped along, right? So not always good for me to be the most successful person in the room, right? Because I'm going to rise to the occasion or I'm going to fall to the occasion. And I know this is a little to the side, but this is all stuff that affects our brain. This are all things that affect our self-esteem, our self-worth, help us get to where we want to be in life. And so I personally find that it's super, super important. And I need to know who I'm spending time with and what their goals are, and do they match, right? Do we match? And just go out from there. So 5 people, I would highly suggest that, you know, you take a few minutes and you think about that. And, you know, are they good to be around? Do they have good energy? Are they have good mojo, like I was saying? Super important. And you want to find places that are healing to you, where the people around you are going to be healing and they're going to be understanding. I happen to think Taylor Sport Chiropractic and Wellness is one of those places. That's one of the things that we get a lot of compliments on, is that people seem to like to come to the office. They like the energy that we have here, and you know, it's a place where people like to come, and I'm really super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful that Elena and Kale and I have been able to build that for people, and we plan on continuing that. So that's a really awesome thing. So like I said, when it comes to keep the crap out, we want to get the toxins out of our lives, out of our food, and even out of our home, our cleaning products, you know, maybe even the lotions and different shampoos and different things that we're putting on our body, right? Remember, toxins, traumas, and thoughts. Those are the 3 things that cause problems. So we want to make sure that we're getting those things out. And then, of course, the toxic people. We want to get that out as well. Kale is a hoot. Yes, he is. So get those people out. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but, you know, 2019, it's going to be our year, right? Let's do it. Let's push hard, and let's get the right people around us. All right. So that was number 4. Let's see. And number 5. Where's my fancy eraser? There it is. Number 5. I think some of you are going to know what number 5 is. Anybody want to guess what number 5 is? And then after we're done with the 5, I got some quick hacks, a couple different things I want to go over with you guys, and then we'll call it. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Number 5. Okay, number 5. Get. You know what it is? Get what? Get adjusted. Yep, I said it. I did. Get adjusted. Because, and this is why, you guys, we tend to fall short in some of the other areas, right? We're not going to be perfect in all those other areas. So we need to reboot, restore, and decrease our stress, right? So we need to reboot, right? Restore, can you guys even see that? I think you can. And de-stress. Right? And getting adjusted does that for us. When our foot's on the gas and our lives are going crazy, we're in sympathetic overdrive, and we're living in that stressed out state all the time, we get the crazy brain. We can get the brain fog. Sometimes we can make not so good decisions for us, food, maybe someone we're hanging around, maybe we're not drinking enough water, whatever it is. And a lot of times we can come in and we can get adjusted, and it's going to reboot and get that nervous system pushed towards a parasympathetic state, our rest and digest and healing phases. And that's what we want, right? So yes, number 5 is get adjusted, right? Come to a place that's healing, come to a place that's calm, some people that are going to love on you a bit, get you feeling better, and then send you back out into the game, right? That's what we do here at Taylor Sport Chiropractic and Wellness, is we're going to help you do that. We want you guys to thrive and live your best life possible, right? Let's see. We want to have an efficient nervous system. If you're an athlete, we want to make sure that you're performing at your best. So we, again, like always, we want to make sure that our brain is talking to our body in the most efficient manner possible, so that we can get where we want to go, so that we can heal well, we can recover well, we can hit our mark in our CrossFit or our Orange Theory or the indoor soccer league or jiu-jitsu or whatever it is that you do. We want you to be able to hit your mark and thrive, and getting adjusted is one of the ways that we can do that, okay? So like I said, if you have any questions, please put them in. I got a couple more things for you here. Here's a couple hacks, couple 3 hacks. With the movement thing, do something simple. Go for your walk. Someone was asking about going for a walk. You can speed up your walk a little bit. I know a lot of you walk in the morning. Maybe just go a little faster, right? And then maybe you can do 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and 10 jumping jacks for 3 rounds. That's it. Just add something. If you can't do all of that right now, that's fine. Maybe do 1 push-up, 5 squats, and 10 jumping jacks, or whatever it is that you're capable of doing. Scale it to you, and then you can build. And then when you can do more push-ups and squats and jumping jacks, those are going to be huge milestones for you, and it's going to keep that momentum going, and that's going to be huge. That's going to be a really, really big deal. So like I said earlier, just adding those little things in are going to make a really big difference. Quick hacks to clear the brain fog: a cold shower. Yeah, I said it, I know. But getting in that cold shower, resetting that system again, super important. It's going to release endorphins and norepinephrine. There's also something called cold shock proteins that are really good for our brain, helps with serotonin and dopamine, and you will feel really, really good after, even though it can feel horrible at first. So a cold shower goes a long way to help us feel better. The other thing is magnesium and zinc, right? So a lot of us are deficient in magnesium and zinc. And so I want to suggest that you take that. My headache patients, mood stuff, the magnesium makes a really, really big difference with some of that. Burr, yeah, I know, it's cold. I'll post some of the pictures of me in the ice bath. That'll really get some of you going, right? With some of that comes along an ability to be uncomfortable, right? We have to be excited to be uncomfortable. I know it sounds crazy, but putting ourselves in situations where we're not, like I'm not comfortable right now, right? I'd rather be at home. I'll jump in the pool. That's a good idea. Yeah, Marla, you have a pool, and Deborah, you have a pool. Just jump in the pool. I'll come jump in the pool with you. That sounds like fun. But yeah, I mean, simple stuff. That's all that you need. It's going to help reduce, as far as the cold stuff goes, it's going to help reduce inflammation. Like I said, there's cold shock proteins that are great for the brain, serotonin. It's actually somewhat of a mood stabilizer, believe it or not. And so ice baths are a great tool, and they also teach us that we're going to be okay. Like, so we can take this ice bath thing to another level, to another idea, and it just teaches us that we're going to be okay. If I can get through this couple minutes in the ice bath, then I can get through that other thing that I have to do. So that's part of it too, I think, is just being willing to endure a little bit and knowing that we're going to be okay, right? So the ice bath is a huge thing with that. And then as far as that parasympathetic nervous system goes, I've got a few hacks for you here. So the first thing is, so remember, parasympathetic is our rest and digest. That's where we sleep. That's where our immune system is working well. That's where our digestive system, everything is working well. Our guts are working well. We're fighting off bugs and flus and different things. We're healing, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's where we want to be. We want to be a little bit on that parasympathetic side. That's not to say that sympathetic is bad, because it's not. It's a good thing and we need it. But we want to be a little bit on that parasympathetic side. And so some hacks to kind of get us there. One, breathing. So those of you that have done any kind of breathing routine or protocol or something like that, yoga is breathing. Meditation is breathing. So sometimes we trick people into doing meditation and we just tell them it's a breathing protocol. But getting into some of that stuff is really awesome. You can find some of that on YouTube. The Wim Hof stuff is really good. He's got some great introductory stuff. Great for calming the system. Great for literally changing the physiology of our body like that in a heartbeat. You know, if you're stressed, if you're anxiety, you kind of go on a little crazy, stop, breathe, really breathe, like stop and breathe. A lot of us forget. We get like this and we stop breathing and then everything gets tight and tense. And we hold on to that and we can actually explode at times even, right? So getting into that habit of feeling that coming on and being able to hold it off with a breathing routine is huge. Praise, right? So this comes back with the people I'm spending time with. This comes back to being in a group of people that are going to tell me when I'm doing well, and I'm going to be around that good community of people. Community is huge, y'all. That's why things like CrossFit are so popular. It's the exercise, but it's not the exercise. It's actually the community. People like going where they know your name, and it's really, really helpful, right? It's like the Cheers thing. Hey, Norm, right? So getting into a community where you're going to get praise and you're going to get pushed and you're going to be a little bit out of your comfort zone is huge. And then things like CrossFit too, or HIIT training or Orange Theory or any of these, we're breathing, right? We're breathing heavily. We've got a lot going on and we're moving around, and that's where some of that comes from as well. So it's that in and out of the air, of the moving the air around, right? So breathing, praise. We want to be in a fun environment. We want to be in a fun environment where we're also relaxed, right? So great for the parasympathetic nervous system. So fun. If you're stressed out, if you're worried, you have any of that kind of stuff going on, then it's not going to be good, right? It's not going to be good for that sympathetic nervous system, as in you're going to be too far on the sympathetic side. And then we need to know that that it's going to be fun, it's going to be really relaxing, and that I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to be okay. And that's great for our parasympathetic nervous system. Of course, going to the chiropractor, like I already mentioned, great for kicking in that parasympathetic nervous system. And then the last one I'm going to throw out to you guys, this is the fifth one, it's the last thing, is having a powerful mindset. Having a powerful mindset and knowing our self-worth and having good self-esteem is huge. This is huge, y'all. And being able to, again, be around people that are going to empower us, being within a community, being around people that are going to love us and cheer us on, that's a huge piece of that. But not only that, but being able to do it for ourselves, right? Being able to study and learn and become the best person that we can so that we know what our self-worth is, we know what our self-esteem is. And so self-esteem is how I see myself. Self-worth is how I think other people see me. So self-esteem is how I see myself. Self-worth is how I feel other people see me. And am I worthy? These types of things. So this stuff is really super important too for brain fatigue, brain fog. If we're worried all the time and we're worried about what people think of us and stuff like that. Yep, and having a growth mindset for sure. That's a great point, Marla. Thanks for bringing it up. There's a great book out there called Mindset by Dweck. I just finished it and it was awesome. And she talks about having this fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And a growth mindset, it doesn't mean that you're always comfortable with change, but you're willing to see change. You're willing to do things differently. And you know that, she talks a lot about students and when you tell someone they're smart all the time, then they always want to be smart, and then they're afraid to try new things because they might look dumb. Whereas somebody that has a growth mindset, they know that it's the work that makes you smarter, for lack of a better term. It's not the fact that you are smart. So it doesn't define us. It's a really, 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 really good book. It's called Mindset, and the author's name is Dweck, D-W-E-C-K, I think. Or D-E-W-E-C-K, I can't remember, but it's something like that. And she also has a TED Talk that kind of covers the basics of it. And when I read that book, I actually realized how much of a fixed mindset I actually have in certain areas of my life. And, to be really honest, it's held me back, and it's caused me to have, self-esteem issues, self-worth issues, mental fatigue, fog. Those of you that have known me a long time, you probably know, you know me well. You know me well enough to know some of that. And it's been a fight, right? It's taken a lot of hard work to get to the other side of that stuff. But it's been worth it, right? The whole journey has been totally worth it. And now I have the awesome opportunity to help other people. So anyway, I'll move away from that now. But if you want to know more about that, I can do a talk on that too sometime if that's something that y'all want. You just have to let me know. So tonight what we talked about was 5 tips to a better brain, right? How we can have less brain fatigue and brain fog. So I'm going to go over those really quick again. It was water, right? Sleep, movement, exercise, walking, hiking, whatever, gardening even. We didn't get into all that, but anything where we're moving and doing things. Number 4 was keep the crap out, right? Keep the crap out. There are 2 types of toxins specifically that we talked about, food and chemicals, obviously, eating clean, and then getting the toxic people out of our lives, right? So we are the culmination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. And I would encourage you all to choose wisely, right? Make good choices and be willing to move on, right? You don't have to stay in that fixed mindset. Sometimes being friends with the person you went to kindergarten with isn't a good idea, right? Be willing to see some of that stuff. Huge for our brain, huge for our self-esteem, huge for our self-worth. Toxic, and then of course, like I said, get adjusted. Stimulates the nervous system. Those of you that have been adjusted in the past, you know how you feel when you leave the office, and do that on a regular basis. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope everyone has been able to take a nugget or two out of this and apply it. I know that it's the end of January. I know that some of you set some really big goals for yourself. I know that some of you are, really working at it. Some of us have fallen off. I might have fallen off my food thing already, but I'm getting back on. But exercising, doing things in our lives and so forth and so on are super important. So I hope again that this has been helpful. If anything that you've heard here tonight has inspired you in any way, please call the office and let us know. If it's something that you feel like you'd like to start, or if this is the type of care that you're looking for, this is the type of attitude that you want in your health care, please call us. We would love to help you, 281-332-4476. And I guess that's all for now. I'll be jumping back on later in the week to do some of my regular shorter Facebook Lives. And then on February 13th, I'm doing another Perfect Storm talk, ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety in our kiddos. And that's going to be a live talk right here at 1322 Space Park Drive. It'll be over in the Tenant Center on the other side of the building. And we've been getting really good turnouts for that. I'll put a link in the show notes, or the comments. I call them show notes. And we'll put one in the header as well so that you guys can find it if anybody would like to get signed up for that. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Everyone have a great night. It's been awesome seeing everyone. And we'll work out from there, okay? Peace out. See y'all later. See if I can get logged off here. And end live video.